All right, well, I'm not sure if you heard this, but Floyd Mayweather actually came out and said that he wants to get in the octagon and fight by the end of 2018.
Yeah.
If you're Floyd and you got that 50-0 and you're defending that, do you do this? Is this a smart move?
For me, if I was Floyd, and to be able to accomplish as much as he's accomplished in his career, and this has been my second time of retiring, and the second time, hey, it's good.
Hello and welcome to Tricks of the S-Trade channel. Today is the 17th of April 2018. Today's feature, we're featuring somebody we've already had on our channel before, and it's the popular undefeated boxer by the name of Floyd Money Mayweather. That's the name that he goes by. But on Floyd's official webpage stats, his name actually goes by Floyd Joy Money Mayweather. And let me just show you guys that before we continue on with this video. So you can pause the video at any point in time and copy out the link. Just Google Floyd Money Mayweather and then look at his official stats at his wiki page. Because what we're looking at here says that Floyd Joy Mayweather Jr. was born Floyd Joy Sinclair. So this actually means that Floyd's name should actually be Joy right here. So he was born February 24th, 1977. As you can see, the Vatican code of numbers right there, 2 + 4 = 6. If it's your first time on the channel and you're listening to that and you're interested in the Vatican code of numbers, go to the channel and look for the playlist called Vatican Code of Numbers, or look for the Lisa Lopes or Lisa Lopez video. I don't know how it's pronounced, if it's Lopez or Lopes, but it's spelled L-O-P-E-S on the channel, and that will give you an in-depth analysis of the Vatican Code of Numbers. But so a lot of people don't know that's the name. That's the name of Floyd. He's actually named as a woman, Floyd Joy. So this shouldn't be surprising at all. And one of his nickname of Floyd Money Mayweather has always been Pretty Boy, right? But we know that boys can be pretty. It's girls that are pretty. So if you're looking at this guy right here and you think it's a girl, if you think it's a guy, you're actually looking at a woman and it's not a girl. You're actually looking at a woman, it's not a guy, I meant to say. So if it's your first time on our channel, I'd like to welcome you. And I know you want to continue watching this particular video, even though we've had a video on Floyd before. But for the reasons when we made that video, we didn't find a lot of pictures of Floyd to show his his female hips that he has. So over time, while looking at so many photos and studying the skeletal structure of Floyd Joy Money Mayweather, we came up with the pictures that we could actually show that you're actually looking at a female with the body structure and the skeletal structure of the hips below the crotch. So that's the reason why we're making the second video on Floyd Money Mayweather. You can actually watch the first one, and I think we're going to tag this onto that particular older video so you can watch it along as well. But let's continue on and talk about some things. If it's your first time on our channel and I know you want to continue watching this video, you need to pause this video right here and go look, all right, for the video called the primer video. Without you watching the primer video, a lot of the things that we're saying is not going to make any sense to you at all. The primer video is a foundation for all the videos that you're going to watch. It's the most important video that you have to watch on this channel. And so let me point you to the primer video first, which you have to watch before you can continue watching this video. So if it's your first time on our channel, please just pause this video right here, or continue watching this video to the point that I show you the primer video, and then you pause the video and go watch that primer video first before you continue watching this particular video, so you can understand a lot of the things that we're talking about. So let me show you that. So if it's your first time on our channel, you need to watch the primer video. The primer video will be the oldest video that you have on this channel. It has a playlist and it contains, I think, 2 or 3 more videos there, which will do you a lot of good if you should watch it. So this is the primer video. I'm hovering my mouse right over it. And for any video that we have on this channel, it's free for you to download. And there's also a link attached to every video. It's very, very important that if you're a first time subscriber or your first time that you're watching a video on this channel, that you need to get the link that's attached to this particular video, or any video that you pick up to watch if you haven't done so before. So I'm hovering my mouse right over the link right here. When you click on this link, it's going to take you to a document. The document is called Male versus Female Visual Differences. So if you're interested in being able to identify the sex based on the skeletal structure, because what differentiates the males from the females is that for a woman is designed to give birth, and so her skeletal structure is also designed to give birth. And so if you want to know those differences, you have to know what are the differences in those skeletal structure. So that's what we advise, that you should study this particular document so you can get up to speed and know how to do this transvestigation on your own and pass this information on to your children, because we live in a world that's very, very confused, and a lot of people don't know the differences between male and females. They think that when you find somebody who has the genitals, or somebody who has the breast, that makes them the sex they are. But in all sincerity and truth, it's the sex that determines the genitals, and not the genitals the sex. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. So it's the skeletal structure that determines those genitals, and not genitals the sex. Because we live in a world now in which a lot of people can go do surgery and try to change the sex and gender that they were born with. And even then, the Vatican, who's responsible for making a lot of these transgenders that you find in the public spheres of our world, who run our world, especially the Western world, they take these children from babies, and then they force them to live in a sex and gender that's not theirs, which is a very, very harrowing experience. So you need to know the differences between male and female so you can pass this on to the next generation, because we have not been taught well, because the educational system of the world is run by the Vatican, and all the Vatican seeks to do is indoctrinate you. They're not teaching you anything. So since we're neck deep already in the transvestigation of Floyd Money Mayweather, we're going to go through this document real quick so we can continue on and talk about a few things on why a woman and Floyd Money Mayweather, or Floyd Money Mayweather, should be competing in men's sports and winning. So we're going to talk about that so you can understand that everything about athletics, or everything about, let me say in general, sports in this world, has nothing to do with has nothing to do with let's say showing us the best of human performance in sports. It's all about politics and wrangling, and it all ties down to the white, as they should say, but we call it albino because that's the truth, Vatican, which runs the world. There's a reason for all that. So let's scroll down this document real quick and just show you the differences between a man and a woman skeletally before we can continue on with a little bit of the conversation. So as you're looking at the screen right here, there is a female to your left of the screen. I'm hovering my mouse right over it, and there's a male to your right. Now, a female has an arch in her back. Why does a woman have an arch in her back? The reason why a woman has an arch in her back is because the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward. Why is the pelvis of a woman tilted forward? The pelvis of a woman is tilted forward so that a baby can stay inside the pelvic region for the 9 months of conception that a baby goes through before he or she is born into this world. That is why the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward. If the pelvis wasn't tilted forward and was straight, no baby would be able to stay inside that pelvic region, and females would be having miscarriages all the time because the weight of the baby would be dropping the baby out before the baby reaches maturity to be born. So that's why the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward. And also, the arch in the back is also extra support for the weight of pregnancy, so that the weight of pregnancy can be distributed evenly across the body so that it doesn't hurt the mother when she's working, and she doesn't hurt the baby while she's walking, and she can carry that weight comfortably to full term. So that's the reason why a woman has an arch in her back. Now, if you draw the arch in the back of a female, it's going to be the arch of best way I could put it is this: the back of a woman is shaped like a C or an S, depending on where you draw the arch in the back from. Every woman has an arch in the back, irrespective of what she looks like or who she is. Every woman has an arch in the back, except she has some sort of a spinal injury, and which might deter that, or maybe she's old with age and the spine is maybe twisted to a point that maybe the S-shaped spine is no longer very visible. But without that, with a normal woman, every woman has an arch in the back. If you draw the arch of a female's back, just below her shoulder blades is going to form a deep C. If you draw the arch from above the shoulder blades, is going to form an S-shaped spine in the back. Now, for males do not have any arch in the back because the pelvis of a man is straight up and down. It's not tilted. It's straight. So because there is no pelvic tilt in a man's pelvis, except he has a problem with his spine or maybe some sort of accident or injury or any spinal deformation, then he can have a little bit, all right, of a twisted back, but the pelvis is always going to be straight. It's not going to be tilted. All right. So a man's pelvis is straight up and down because men do not give birth. Men will never give birth. Men have never given birth, and man will never ever give birth. All right. So if a man's back wants to arch, it's going to arch outwards into the shape of a D or a P. So I want you to remember those letters. For a man's back is straight up and down, it's going to be shaped like a D or a P. For females, the back is going to be shaped like an S or a C. Now, let me just scroll through the document just to show you that a woman's back always arches more. My pictures are loading a little bit slowly, so pardon me. And right here, as you can see, here is a female bending down. You can see this deep C arch in the back because the pelvis of this female is tilted forward. It doesn't matter what size the woman comes in, if she's big, tall, small, fluffy, whatever you want to call it, there is always going to be an arch in the female's back, irrespective of what she looks like, irrespective of whether she's the texture of her hair, whether she has woolly hair or she's an albino, or some people claim white, or she has straight hair, which is one of the same thing. So if you've heard me say that that white people or anybody with straight hair is an albino and you're interested in knowing the truth, please get on the channel and look for the playlist called The Myth of Whiteness. We have I think a total of over maybe 13 or 14, 15 videos on that. It's a long series. It goes in depth to show you that at the end of the day, that we are all black people and some are albinos. That's just fact. So we're looking at a big female here to the left of my screen. As you can see, she has an arch in the back and the pelvis is tilted forward. A small female to the right, arch in the back and the pelvis is tilted forward. It doesn't matter if the female's got muscles. Nothing can change the skeletal structure of anybody. So the skeletal structure is determined at conception. All right. So once that is set, there's no amount of drugs, there's no amount of surgery that can change that skeletal structure. Because you have to remember this. How are dead people's sexes known from just the skeletal remains? It's because sex is determined by the skeletal structure, and nothing can change the skeletal structure. All right. So if you can see right here, here's a muscular female. She still has an arch in the back. Another muscular female, arch in the back, and nothing can change that. So the next defining feature that differentiates the sexes, which we're gonna play a short clip just to show you, is that a female's hips, because a woman is designed to give birth, the hips of a female are below her crotch. All right, the hips of a female is below the crotch, or is below her crotch, while the hips of a man, because he's not designed to give birth, is above his crotch. So those are one of the most significant differences between males and females. A female's hips are below the crotch and a man's hips is above the crotch. So let me play that short clip, then we can continue on with the transvestigation of Floyd Joy Money Mayweather. So here is the clip right here, and as you can see with a regular female, a female always starts spreading from underneath her elbows. So if you're a woman, you can go stand in the mirror and check this out. From your elbows, you find out that you start getting wider. and the widest point is always going to be your hips, which is below the crotch. So in this particular video, what you're looking at is a female who's trying to whose hips are being measured. So the location of the measurement of the hip is going to be below the crotch, because this is how all female hips are, irrespective of their ethnicity and texture of hair or color of skin in the world. Every female's hips are below the crotch. There is nothing like a mistake in saying that a female hip can be above the crotch. If a female finds her hips above the crotch, she's definitely male. All hips of a woman are below the crotch. So this is how females get measured. Get measured and fit into clothes. This is how the clothes of a female are sewn all around the world in different countries. Because if there was varying degrees or varying places for the female hip in clothes sewing, the clothes that are sewn around the world and shipped into different countries, there would be a problem, because so many females would have problems fitting into those clothes. But for every woman's clothes, it doesn't matter what she's wearing, whether it's dresses, it's pants, the location of the hip for that cloth is always going to be below the crotch. If you're female, I want you to go check this out in some of your clothes. So this female is going to get measured. So some people have the misconception that, maybe you've heard on a lot of channels, that there's such a thing as a hip to shoulder ratio. That means that if a woman's shoulders are wider than her hips, then that she's male. There's no such thing. The location of the hip is below the crotch. So it doesn't matter if the female's shoulder is wider. The location won't change. It's still going to be below the crotch. So that's what you have to understand. The location of the female hip will always be below the crotch, irrespective of what's going on with the body of that particular woman. So some females can have their waists wider than their hips, but the location of the hips will always be below the crotch, because that's what makes her female. So this I'm going to play this clip so you can see. The tape's going to go around right here. As the tape goes around measuring where the location of the hips are, as you can see, that tape goes around and it's below the crotch. This lady is going to turn around so you can see from the back the location of that hip from the back. I always tell this to everybody: if you're doing a transvestigation and you have problems of figuring out if somebody is a male or a female, because once you look at a woman or a man from the back, you're going to know that you're looking at either a male or female, because of how acute the Q angle is for the female hip. Because you know the Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee, and for females that location is below the crotch, and for males it's always going to be above the crotch. So for a female hip, the location of the hip from the back right here is slightly above this bum line but below the crotch. If this person was a man, the location of this hip will be high above right here and farther away from this bum line, and that would that will show you I'm mixing up my words, I'm sorry. That will distinguish the fact that you're actually looking at either a male or a female, because of the Q angle. The Q angle of a male is above the crotch. The Q angle of a female is below the crotch. So that's one thing I want you to note. So let's move over and talk about some few things before we dive into Floyd Money Mayweather. We want to ask the question: why is it that Floyd Money Mayweather, who happens to be a female, can be competing in male sports? What is this all about? Does it make any sense to you at all that a woman can be competing in male sports? Because the only reason why Floyd is winning and is undefeated in boxing is not because that he's a great boxer as we claim today. It's because, first of all, his boxing matches are rigged, and Floyd Money Mayweather is on a lot of steroids to give him or give her that physical strength to be able to be in the ring with real men. So if we hear a lot of, the boxing world makes a lot of noise, and generally in sports, that steroids are a huge problem. But here we have Floyd Money Mayweather, a female. because the only way she can be in that ring and last the number of hours that she lasts is because, one, she's on steroids, and two, the boxing matches are rigged. So what does that tell you? So that goes to tell you that sports has nothing to do with truth in showing you the actual, truth of human beings at their finest level of physical competition, or physical I'm mixing up my words. Let me just cut it short because I don't know what's wrong with me today. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is this: that sports has nothing to do with, being the best at any physical activity. That it's more like a tool to control the mind of the population. And as you can see, a lot of people are hooked on sports like it's a life and death issue. You hear it all the time. It's one sport or the other. It could be basketball, it could be football, or it could be soccer, or it could be any other. It could be baseball or something. But all the sports have nothing to do with, showing you the best physical performance of human beings in their own fields of sports. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about politics. Because if it wasn't about politics, if it wasn't about controlling the public's perception and mind, there is no way that Floyd Money Mayweather, who is a female, can be in boxing and remain undefeated. So what's the story that you should learn here? Sports has to fit the agenda of the elite. It has to be a tool that the elite can use to control the minds of the population, because it has nothing to do with showing you the very best specimen of human beings competing. All right? It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with human beings in competition in any way at all, or competing against themselves. It's all about politics. Now, the current narrative of let's say since we live in a white supremacist world, the current sports narrative has to fit that agenda of showing white, or as we call it, albino supremacy. So the best example I can show you is this, so you guys can understand what's going on here. There is a very popular soccer player called Cristiano Ronaldo. And Cristiano Ronaldo is actually an albino, but some guys would call him a white dude, all right? That's the most popular term. And he's from Portugal. Now, when soccer became a recognized sport in the world, before the Vatican fully took it over, the Vatican that's running the world today is an albino one, or a white one, as they should say it. And they did not always control everything. But right now, at this point in history, they control everything too. I mean, if there's anything that has to do with this world, the Vatican is in it. Down to the shower heads in your house, and down to the underwear that you wear. They're all in it. So when soccer started as an organized sport, it wasn't under the tutelage of the albino Vatican. And at that point in time, the greatest soccer player of all time, which the whole world knows and under organized sports, was a guy by the name of Pele. Pele is a black woolly-haired man. And let me just show you a picture of Pele at this moment. So you can pause the video at any point in time and copy out this link and go read up on it. And it's actually about Pele. Now it says here, Edson Arantes de Nascimento, Brazilian Portuguese, born 23 October 1940, known as Pelé, is a Brazilian retired professional footballer who played as a forward. He's widely regarded as the greatest football player of all time. So, Pelé, as you can see here, is a black woolly-haired man, all right? And he's regarded as the greatest footballer of all time. So I want you guys to remember this because we're going somewhere with this particular story. So in case what's unraveling currently turns out, because sports is a rigged game, okay? The rigging is done in many several ways. It could be done to drugs, and like I've talked about this on one of the videos before, that in all sports that steroids are used or drugs come into play, because that's the way these people can perform at their optimal, beyond human expectations. So steroids are used in all sports. There is no sportsman out there who's playing at the competitive professional level that doesn't use steroids. That's just fact. That's something you have to come to understand. So, Pelé here is regarded as the greatest football player of all time. And before the Albino Vatican took over sports completely, soccer for example, this guy remained the greatest football player of all time, or what would they call soccer player. So let me just put it right. It says football here because the whole world knows soccer as football, and in the United States we call it soccer, all right? So you guys should understand that I'm talking about soccer at this point in time. So Pelé is regarded as the greatest football player of all time before the albino supremacists, all right, in the Vatican took over control of soccer. So when they took over control of soccer, this has always been a problem to them, because the whole world recognizes that Pelé is the greatest soccer player of all time. So currently, they tried to make there was another player who came up by the name of Maradona. Maradona was from Argentina, and Pelé right here was from Brazil. Maradona was a very great player, a very good player as well, but Maradona could not measure up to Pelé in terms of the skill base. It was still regarded that Pelé was, the greatest football player of all time. And in such sports as soccer, to be considered so great, you have to win what they call the World Cup. You have to win your own, let's say, geographical, demographic cup as well. And they have so many names for a lot of them. For example, in Europe, they have the Euros, I think, which is going to be played maybe. One was played last year, and in that year, that's the year that Ronaldo won. So you have to win such kind of those kind of competitions like that, and you also have to win at the club level, and you also have to win what they call the European club competitions. So for you to be regarded as a very great player. Now Pelé right here won all that, and won more of it than Maradona, who was from Argentina. So what's happening here is that the albino supremacists for a long time have tried to put an albino in contention to make him as great as Pelé or greater than Pelé to fit the current narrative of white or albino supremacy. And all through the years, they've been trying to find that great player who they could say they could measure up. And one thing that the albino supremacists have that can sway public opinion is that they have the media. They can rig the game. They rig the game in so many ways. Like I was trying to explain, they can rig it through drugs, making a sportsman to take some drugs that he doesn't, that's not good for him, and he becomes weak and he gets defeated. They can rig it through by either paying that particular sportsman outrightly to take a dive, and he could do that. They can also rig it by using the officials. You see this in so many sports games in which the officials turns the tide of a game in favor of another team. So sports in general has nothing at all to do with competition. It's all about politics. It's a tool to be used to control your mind. So currently, what's happening is since the Albino Vatican took over soccer completely, they've been trying to put someone in that sphere of contention to fit the current narrative of white supremacy. And this hasn't happened because physically, genetically, black people are better sportsmen than albinos or anybody who has straight hair, this is something we know all this whole sporting world, and you see it every day, shows. So because of this physical prowess that black people generally have in sports has to be regulated in such a way that is not totally, shown or totally taken over by black people. So there are so many sports in which a lot of black people are barred from being in it. So the whole entire sporting world is not taken over by blacks. We all know that. I won't go into the name of the sports, but I just want to let you know that you find there are so many sports you'll find that there are less black people in it because they are barred in one way or the other. Not barred outwardly, but the process of making them get into that particular sports is done in such a way that it prevents them from competing in it at all. So because this has to fit the current leaders of the world don't want sports to be completely run over by blacks. Relating to soccer, they've been trying to get somebody to be as good as Pele or better than Pele to fit the current narrative. They tried it with Maradona, but Maradona wasn't good enough. So they tried it with Ronald Messi. Is it Ronald? No, sorry. Is it Ronald Messi? I want to get the name right, so hold on a second. All right. The name is Lionel Messi. All right. Lionel Messi currently plays for a club called Barcelona in Spain. So, but here was the problem. Messi is a great player, is a good player compared to Ronaldo. All right. Let me just show you the pictures of the guys I'm talking about so you guys can have a perfect understanding of where we're going here. So here is a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo to your left, and this is Lionel Messi to your right. Now, Lionel Messi is from Argentina, the same country that Maradona came from. So remember, Maradona was a great player, but he's regarded as the greatest player behind Pele. And Maradona was from Argentina. Now, they tried to make Messi a great player, undeniably. Nobody can say that. But the problem is this. Messi cannot be greater than Maradona, who was before him. And in all truth, and in all, if you want to judge them based on their performances, Maradona is still the better player. He's better than Messi because why? Maradona had won the World Cup, which Messi has not. And he's won so many other things that Messi hasn't won yet. Even though Messi at club football is a very great player. So Messi cannot be better than Maradona. So in order to be better than Pele, right, Messi has to be better than Maradona, which is not the case. All right. So now they switch attention to this other guy right here called Cristiano Ronaldo. Now make no mistake, Cristiano Ronaldo is a good player, but he's overrated. He's overhyped. Okay? So all what I'm trying to explain to you is let you understand that if you're putting your heart in sports, you're putting your heart in the wrong things. You should take a dose off of sports because it has no truth in it. It's all politics, rigging, and steroids. So now they're trying to make Ronaldo to be in the same conversation as Pele. And how are they doing this? By, even though Ronaldo is good, they are overrating him so that they can use that rating to make him better than Pele. So in the next couple of years or maybe a year from now, they're going to say that Ronaldo is a greater player. So Ronaldo is from Portugal. And this gives them a better position, all right, to make him be as great on paper and through their media as Pele. So now Ronaldo's games are being rigged. I'm going to show you one example of that particular rigging. So what's going on currently right now is that Ronaldo in order to be considered a great player, like I've said earlier before, you would have to have won the World Cup, a soccer game called the World Cup. You have to win your own domestic leagues, and you also have to win a continental trophy. So I think last year, or maybe 2 years ago or thereabout, Ronaldo's since Ronaldo's from Portugal, he played in the Euros, which is a continental cup, and those games were rigged, and Ronaldo came out winning the continental Euro championship. So now he can be mentioned in the same conversation as Pele, because Pele also won his own continental championship in South America during the time that he was considered the greatest player of all time. Now, Ronaldo, you have to understand that rigging soccer is the most difficult game to rig. Why is it so difficult to rig? Because soccer is a very, very fast game. It's not like football in America, in the United States, the NFL, which is slowed down, paused, and breaks and all that kind of stuff between the whole entire game, such that they can rig it without you actually seeing it. And then basketball goes through the same thing, in which the officials can make a mess of the game and rig it in such a way that you guys can see it. And also the players are also involved, which are paid to either lose or make games happen. So you guys have to understand. But with soccer is a different ball game, because the game is so fast such that at any time you make a pause, somebody's going to actually see that you're trying to rig the game. And when the officials make calls, you're going to see the calls very glaringly. So Ronaldo's game was rigged, that he won his own continental championship. Like I said, in order to be mentioned in that conversation, you have to win the continental championship. You have to win your own domestic league. Then you have to win also the World Cup. So Ronaldo was rigged, and he won the Continental Euro Championship. He's playing for Real Madrid, and Real Madrid won the domestic cup, and they also won the Champions League, which is also some sort of like continental championship. They won it the first year. They won it, I think this 2018. Real Madrid won it in 2017. And they won it in 2016 and won it in 2017. So they defended it. They were like the first team in the current format of the club continental championship to win it back to back. It's never been done before in the new format. So now Ronaldo is going to be mentioned in that conversation, because they're trying to make him win it for a third time if it goes according to plan. Like I said before, soccer is very, very difficult to rig. So something could go wrong. One thing or the other could go wrong. It could be maybe, let's say, for example, that the other team that they're trying to rig against is way too strong, such that the officials can't really do anything about it, and the other team might win. So currently, Ronaldo's team, Real Madrid, is in the semifinals of the Champions League. Now, here is where the problem arises. Because soccer is very, very difficult to rig, and it's going to be very glaring when you do so. The albino supremacists in the Vatican have to find a way to make sure that the rigging looks like something like that. Because they want this to happen. That's the best way I can put it. They want Ronaldo to go ahead and be mentioned in the same conversation as Pele. So they have to find a way to make sure that he wins. So this happened, first of all, in the game, in the quarterfinal leg of Real Madrid versus Juventus. Now, in that particular game, Real Madrid were on a tie with Juventus. And Juventus, if Juventus had scored maybe another goal, it would have put Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo out of that competition, which the Vatican doesn't want to happen. So they waited till the very last minute of the game, in that particular game, and gave Real Madrid a penalty in which Ronaldo scored. Let me see if I can find a clip of that to show you. So as you can see right here, this is just a clip from that particular game. If it's really clear, I don't know if you guys can see it pretty well, but I just want you to follow my mouse. The game here is 93 minutes. That means it's at the end of the game. As you can see right here, +3 right here is the actual number of minutes that they call injury time. That means when you're gone past injury time, the game is over. But as you can see here, it's 93.1. Because the game of football is 45 minutes on each side. So you play 45 minutes for the first half and you play 45 minutes for the second half. So altogether is going to be 90 minutes. So the 3 minutes here of stoppage time is just 3 minutes that I added. Maybe if there was a call, or maybe they were making calls, or let's say maybe someone got injured or someone got hurt during the game, then the ref has the time, has the authority to pause the game, and then at that time, then accrue that time that they spend on the sidelines, maybe to treat somebody from injury during the game. So those 3 minutes are over right here, were added to the game, and as you can see, it's been played out, is 93:01. And the ref gave a penalty. Now, why did the ref give a penalty at this particular point in time and did not stop the game? Because the game would have been done and over 93 minutes and maybe restarted for extra time, because it was a tie here at 3-3. The ref did so because he knew that once, if the penalty is scored, Juventus won't have any time to be able to like equalize on that game, because the game would have been over. It's 93.1 already. So after the kick and the ball goes inside the net, there's no coming back from that. The game is done. So that's why the ref did this. They did this so that Ronaldo could win this particular game and go on to win a third consecutive Champions League medal, so that he can be mentioned in that same conversation with Pele. All this is not a coincidence. So I'm going to play. Remember, like I said, this can go according to plan, or it could be that at the finals, Real Madrid, or the team that they're going to play against in the finals, is way too strong, and Real Madrid cannot do anything about it, and they're overwhelmed, and that happens. But if it goes according to plan and the game is rigged, like they're planning to rig, because they've already been rigging a lot of Ronaldo's games. I'm going to show you another example of this, that how these games are rigged every day. Let me just play this short clip so you guys can actually see what was going on here. Then we can maybe continue on and show you another of a rigged game of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Having helped his team climb this mountain all the way back up, facing a penalty now which would win it. The greatest goal scorer in Champions League history delivers again.
So as you can see right there, a penalty was given for nothing at all. All right, nothing at all, and then a red card was given to Juventus. So the red card was actually given to the goalkeeper so that he would leave, the best goalkeeper, and Ronaldo will even have a greater chance of scoring. So this is how the Vatican rigged sports. Let me show you another rigged game of Ronaldo, which everybody saw that. But a lot of people will not pay quite much of attention to it, because they really didn't understand what was going. But this was all over the news, and it was like Ronaldo was about Ronaldo had another penalty, because it seems like every time that Real Madrid is behind, the officials will somehow manufacture something for Ronaldo to win. So I'm going to play you another clip in which it looked like the ball that Ronaldo was about to kick levitated. Now, how can a ball levitate from the ground? It's because the Vatican would have found a way to put something inside the ball, so that it would levitate and give Cristiano Ronaldo enough time to generate power so that the ball would be flying past the goalkeeper into the net. So let me show you a particular clip, so then we can come back and continue and finish off the transvestigation of Floyd Mayweather, because all this we're trying to say, or all what we're saying so far, is trying to show you that sports is not what you think it is, that you shouldn't make your life to depend on it. You shouldn't make your life, build your life around sports, because it's a tool that the Vatican uses to control your emotions. It's a tool that is used to sway you left and right to any way they have, or any way they want you to feel, and it's only there to serve their purpose and not you who pay for it. So let me show you another clip of Cristiano Ronaldo to show you how that ball levitated, and to show you that they have been rigging sports for a very long time, and people are not just aware of it. They just think that the great sportsmen and sportswomen are the outstanding athletes of society, which they don't know that they are all being used by the albino supremacists in the Vatican to run your world and use you for that purpose. All these athletes serve a purpose. They only work for the Vatican. They don't work for you. So let me play a particular clip of Cristiano Ronaldo's ball levitating, and then we can come back and finish off the transvestigation of Floyd Joy Money Mayweather. So here's the clip right here that I'm gonna play it so you guys can see what was happening. All right, so it says here Cristiano Ronaldo scores bizarre magic penalty versus PSG in the Champions League. So I'll play it from there so you guys can see what was going on. You will see his ball, see the ball move right there. I'm gonna play it again. Oh, this is gonna play again so you can see that the ball goes up. All right, it jumps up for Ronaldo to kick so that it can generate enough power. And the fans were crazy. They were like, okay, let me just show you. Let me just show that clip again. It says football fans react to Cristiano Ronaldo's magic penalty. They called it magic because the Vatican doesn't want you to know that they have been rigging sports for a very long time. They've been rigging it for a very long time. They call it magic penalty. It's not a magic penalty. They've put something inside the soccer ball so what at the time that Ronaldo is about to kick, and I'm very sure Ronaldo is in on it as well, because he would have done this in training or done it behind closed doors with the ball. They would time it and say, okay, we're going to inflate the ball so it rises up and levitates, and you go ahead and kick and see if you can coordinate your timing at the time that we make this ball levitate. So that's all what it's about. But since this was on live TV, because of, like I said before, that soccer is a very difficult game to rig. So when you do the rigging, it's going to be very glaring, because in soccer, the cameras are always on the ball. It's not like in other games in which the camera follows the person. The camera is always on the ball. It's not on anybody else. It's not on the player, it's on the ball. Wherever the ball goes, that's where the camera goes. In most other sports, you're following the person with the ball and not the ball. So that's just the way it is. So here you find out that the fans saw what happened, and then they started to talk about it and say, wait, someone said here, wait, did someone see that ball go up right before Ronaldo shot the penalty? So it becomes very glaring that you could actually see it. All right, let me just keep on playing so you guys can see. Another sports person is going to talk about it. Weird how the ball bounced up before Ronaldo took the penalty, made it a volley. And continue playing. Let's see what another sports person said. Another fan said. It said, so Ronaldo appeared to have a laser pain shone in his eye, and they had to deal with the ball skipping off the turf as he struck the penalty. Not bad. This guy is off. I think it's just one of those, agents trying to confuse the conversation, because the other two people actually made you understand that this was very weird, that Ronaldo's ball levitated off the floor. Now, since the Vatican did notice that a lot of people around the world saw that, they used their media to control that information, because some of the people in the media now said that they've seen Ronaldo do this trick before in training. And we wonder, the question to ask would be this: If Ronaldo has done this before in training and he's been doing this over the years, why haven't we never ever heard about it till now? That Ronaldo can make the ball levitate so that he can score a goal. It's all about serving the purposes of the albino supremacists in the Vatican who want us to believe in the myth of whiteness and white superiority over everything else. So that's all what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Ronaldo enter the conversation of being a great or greater player through manipulating the game and making us believe that Ronaldo is such a great player and even greater than Pele, because they're trying to set him up to win 3 Champions League medals consecutively, which has never been done in history. They're trying to set him up already to win the World Cup because he's already won the Euro championships in case he doesn't win with the 3 back-to-back consecutive Champions Leagues medal. He's going to be mentioned in the same conversation with Pele. That is all what this is about. Ronaldo is a good player, but he's overrated. That's all what it is. So now let's switch gears now back to Floyd Money Mayweather. So you can understand why Floyd is undefeated. He's not undefeated because he's a great boxer. He's undefeated because he's serving a purpose. He's a stooge of the Vatican used to control our minds. So let's go over to Floyd Money Mayweather, or should I rightly say Floyd Joy Money Mayweather. Now, before we get into the transvestigation of Floyd Money Mayweather, this is the point that I have to put out a warning on our channel. There's no slandering allowed on this channel. If you're going to label someone a transgender, you have to supply facts based on the female skeletal structure. You have to show links of pictures that the person has or does not have hips below the crotch, an arch in the back, a pelvis tilted forward, and a wide pubic arch to be considered a transgender. You have to provide those links. Even if you're asking a question, you still have to provide those links, because we do not appreciate people spreading rumors about people unnecessarily, because there's no such thing as like everybody's a transgender, and there's no such thing as someone has an Adam's apple, or has long arms, long torsos, and Adonis belts, a strong jawline, that makes someone a transgender, because it's the skeletal structure that determines your sex, and not all those other physical attributes which is always tied down to the muscle and the skin. All right, it's the skeletal structure. A woman is designed to give birth, a man is not. So that's the only difference between the two sexes. One is designed to give birth and the other is not. So you have to bring your evidence in links of pictures showing that this person does not fit the criteria of being a man or a woman, based on the fact that a woman is designed to give birth. Any other thing is considered slander, and you're going to get blocked. So here is Floyd Joy Money Mayweather, and I want you to take a good look at the areolas of Floyd Joy Money Mayweather. Those are the areolas of a female and not of a male. Even though the picture is very blurry, but you can see how the areolas look. They don't look male at all. Those are the areolas of a female on steroids. Now you can actually see Floyd Money Mayweather, his hips, how wide this whole shorts that she's wearing is designed to hide the hips, and the navel of Floyd Money Mayweather is too high inside the torso of the body. Now, for males and females, a female's waist is always going to be above her navel. So if you draw a line from a female's waist, okay, in Floyd Money Joy Mayweather right here's case, to her hips, it's going to divide the length of the body, or the torso of the body, in half. So this navel point right here at where the waist is supposed to be divides Floyd's Money Joy's Mayweather in half. Divides Floyd's body or torso in half. That's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry I'm mixing up my words. Just pardon me on this video, okay? So from here now down to his hips, which is always going to be below the crotch because he's female, is going to be divided in half. This is just one picture. We have a couple of more pictures to show you, so bear with us and let's go through it. And here is the Floyd Money Mayweather again. Like I said, this is his navel. It's way too high inside the torso of the body, and you can see that he's spreading, all right, I believe that Floyd has gone through some sort of surgery in trying to take off or maybe trying to make this waist very narrow so that you cannot see that this bulging piece right here that you see on the side are those female hips. So he's done sort of surgery, some sort of surgery around the waist to make this bulging place, or cut it off in such a way that it looks like a male hip. But you can see that he's spreading, he's getting wider right here, wider all the way down. And these areolas are not the areolas of any male. These are the areolas of a female. All right. Bear with us. We have some more pictures again of Floyd Money Mayweather. And here's Floyd. This is a typical example of showing the difference between a male torso and a female torso. Now, as you can see right here, the navel of this man right here is lower to his groin, while the navel of Floyd Money Mayweather is higher to his groin. All right, higher into the torso of the body, because this is where his waist is at right here. That's where the female indentation or waist for Floyd Money Mayweather's waist is. And if you draw a line right here, that's the half the length of the torso of the body, because his hips is right around here. That's why he's spreading wider downwards. We'll have some more pictures to show you that, so just stick around with us. And here is Floyd Money Mayweather again. As you can see right here, here is the female indentation above the navel right there. And as you can see, Floyd Money Mayweather is spreading all the way down, and his Q angle is right around here, which is below the crotch. Below the crotch, from where his hands are, and it falls right into the palms of the hands, because Floyd Money Mayweather is a female. You can see right here that he gets wider. She gets wider, wider, and it tapers right around here. Okay? All right, let's give you another picture of Floyd Money Mayweather, and this is the same thing again. This navel, and this picture, the angle that is being taken makes it look like his navel is closer to his groin, but it's not. It's still farther up in the torso of the body, and that is his waist of female indentation right there. And as usual, it always lines up with the elbows on where the female indentation is. And Floyd Money Mayweather has always this knack for, like, he's always like what's the best way? He's always like slouching forward, so that you can't really identify that his hands, or he's trying to make the shoulders wider than what it is. So he's always slouching forward because he's 100% female. And even judging by this particular chest right here. Now, we've never paid much attention to this, but you can see that this chest is not as symmetrical, because for females, a female, one chest or one breast is always larger than the other. And so because one breast is always larger than the other, the muscles are always going to be unasymmetrical, not asymmetrical. What's the best way? I'm trying to find the words. The breast muscles are not going to be symmetrical like a man. All right. And so that's what you find here with Floyd Money Mayweather. As you can see right here, this breast line right here is not symmetrical with this one. This one looks jagged, and this one looks straight, because this is the chest of a female. All right. Some more pictures of Floyd, and here is Floyd again. As you can see, he starts spreading from right where the female indentation is, and this navel is way too high in the torso of the body. If he was a man, this navel would be farther lower, right around here. But he's not, because he's female. Okay? As you can see, he gets wider from that point all the way down. And I think there's a surgery around here to hide the fact, because all this would be his pelvis, or her pelvis rather. All right, some more pictures of Floyd. And here is Floyd again. As you can see that he gets wide, and you can still see these pants are trying to cover up those wide hips. Okay, these are all designed to cover up those wide hips, because Floyd Money Mayweather is a female, and you can still see the unasymmetrical chest is not in symmetry at all. You can see that one looks crooked and jagged much more than the other, because this is the chest of a female on steroids. All right, so if steroids were such a big thing, I mean, Floyd shouldn't even be in the game, because if the so-called organizations of trust, which we've come to believe, are actually doing what they say they are, then Floyd shouldn't be no way competing, because she's totally on steroids. Totally on steroids to get the muscle fibers of a man like she's getting right here. Okay, another picture of Floyd Mayweather. I want you to see this closely now. They are both the same height. Floyd is the same height with this dude over here. And look at where the navel of this guy is in the torso of the body. It's lower down. Floyd is higher up. So if you draw a line right here like this across, see that? This is where Floyd Money Mayweather's navel is. Too high, because that is where the location of a female navel should be in the torso of the body. Because for a female, everything is inside the torso of the body. Like, you know, the pelvis is larger, it's longer, it's bigger, to accommodate the fact that a woman is going to be able to give birth. So the navel is higher up, so that it can be that way, so that everything can be inside the torso of the body. So if you draw a line right here across, this is where Floyd Money Mayweather's navel is compared to the navel of this man. This is female and this is male. Okay, all right, let's go another picture. We already showed you this one, but just to show you it again, that Floyd is spreading from above his navel and gets wider, because he's 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. This sports is rigged for her, because the Vatican wants everybody or anybody which they can use to control the perception of reality, because Floyd has to be a stooge of the Vatican. She has to say what the Vatican wants her to say. And so they make her popular, or make her popular in such a way that whatever she says, you're going to believe it. All right? That's what all this is about. Okay, let's go further. Another picture of Floyd. As you can still see, he spreads and gets wider all the way down, because Floyd is 100% female, and this navel is way too high inside the torso of the body, because Floyd is 100% female. That's his waist right here. You can't hide it, and all this is some sort of surgery or some sort of tightness to make us believe that this is the male waist, but it's not. This is a female waist, as you can see right here. Spreads wider, wider, wider all the way down here, which is her hips. We'll have some more pictures of Floyd. Here is some more pictures of Floyd again. He gets wider, navel, indentation above the navel of the female waist, and it gets wider and wider. And you can still see clear where right here where the female hip is at. It's below the crotch. The Q angles is right there. It's from below the crotch. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it clearly. It is right here. This is Floyd Money Mayweather's hip. It's below the crotch from where this Q angle is. As you can see right there, from high up, it terminates here. That's where the Q angle starts, because Floyd Money Mayweather is 100% female and not a man, as the media has made us to believe. And here's Floyd Money Mayweather again. As you can see, he's trying to put her hands on the male waist, but you can see how awkward this looks, because this is a female. There's no waist here. All right, see how awkward that picture looks? Just take a look at it. See how awkward that looks? Because it doesn't exist. And he's still getting wider as it goes down. And his Q angle is right around here. That's why this looks weird, because Floyd Money Mayweather is a woman. All right. Another picture. We've had this picture already in the first video of Floyd Money Mayweather, which you can go look up on the channel and see. But as you can see, he still has that hourglass figure of a female as he's spreading right here. Hourglass figure of a woman. And look at those face and those eyes. Those are the eyes of a woman. All right? Those are not the eyes of any man. Floyd Money Mayweather, 100% female. Is not a man in the first place, a transgender. All right, here's Floyd Money Mayweather again. As you can see, that navel is way too high in the torso of the body. The female indentation above the navel, and he gets wider all the way down, because Floyd Money Mayweather is 100% female. All right, and not a man. Here is Floyd. We already showed you this picture, but one more time so you can see that the navel is way too high inside the torso of the body, because if this is a navel, then this is her waist. And if you draw a line right here across it, The length of the torso of this body is divided in half because the hips are farther away down, because Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is 100% female. Just look at the smile on the face. Like, look at the smile on the face. That is the smile of a female and not a man. Okay? Here's Floyd Joy Mayweather, and what more can we say? Look at the hourglass figure really standing out here. You can see he gets wider, 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 and this is his waist. So you can see this is getting wider, 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 slanting down, and it terminates right here because that's where his hips is at. The hips are not high enough to be male, but low enough to be female, from where the Q angle starts, because Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is 100% female and not a transgender. You can't believe in any of these people that you see on TV. They are all stooges of the Vatican. They're set up to paint to you a picture which the Vatican wants you to believe. All right. Okay. Here's the best perfect example, and this should end the video at this point in time. These are they're supposed to be two black males, right? So there's no excuse for this. I want you to look at the navel point of the guy on the right, which is Shane Mosley. All right. Look at the navel point of Floyd Joy Mayweather to the left. If you draw a line here right across, because they are both of the same height and same weight, the navel of Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is right around here. Too high. Because Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is a female and Shane Mosley is a male. See that? Look at that. And those are the areolas of a female, not the areolas of any male. You can see them in the way it's shaped and everything else. This is all female. All right, draw a line right here across. You can see it's way too high in the torso of the body, while that of Shane Mosley is lower set to the male waist, which is below his navel, while Floyd is dentation is above the navel. So Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is 100% female, and even the stomach muscles tells you that. You see how the stomach muscles are? Those are the stomach muscles of a female, which needs to expand to keep the baby inside the womb. All right. So Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is 100% female. It's not a male in any way, shape, or form. Let me blow that up so you can see very clearly that this navel is way too high. Higher up, if you draw a line across like this, you see the position is right around here compared to Shane Mosley. So Shane Mosley is male. Floyd Joy Money Mayweather is female. Case closed. All right. We already showed you that, but you want to see this picture again. Show you this picture again. As you can see that he spreads wider, right, wider, 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 below the crotch, and he can't find to put his hands on the male waist because it doesn't exist. That's the female pelvis that he's putting his hands. See how weird it looks? It doesn't look right because it doesn't exist. Floyd Joy Money Mayweather, 100% female. So with that, we've come to the end of today's particular video. The book, like we said before, we'll send you an email on the book because the book is ready. It's out. If you don't get an email, just kindly be patient. You'll get an email in the order to receive the email from you with the price and cost of shipping of the book. So if you've learned something, please stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. And as usual, you should know that the Vatican is hard at work trying to shut us down. So please, please, please send us an email regardless, so we keep you on the list of correspondence. And also subscribe to the second channel. We need your email so we can let you know when our website is ready. And when we have other things that we've planned in the future, like movies and so forth. So with that, we come to the end of today's program, or today's video. And I'll leave you with this word: look with your eyes, but see with your brain. I'll talk with you guys later.